Welcome back. If you're primarily a piano student, as most of my students are, then the second part of this lesson will cover much of what you should already know, terms and signs that are specific to the piano itself, which should probably be familiar to you. The first part of this lesson, though, covers information applicable to all instruments, because we're going to look at ornamentation. The way composers use symbols as abbreviations or shorthand to tell performers to play notes that the composers really can't be bothered to write out in full themselves. Seriously though, if you had to read all the notes intended by composers when they use ornament signs, you'll be glad that they actually do use the signs. Here are the well-established decoration signs or ornament signs which you will need to identify in the examination. The letters TR, usually followed by a wavy line, indicate a trill, a rapid alternation between the printed note and the note immediately above it. In the olden days, when I was studying for my grade 5 theory, trills took more time to teach than any ornament, but nowadays the syllabus has been made much more friendly. No longer do students have to be able to write out how a trill should be played. All you need to be able to do is tick the box marked trill to identify when a trill has been written out in full. There'll be a separate lesson later on how to do that for those of you who really want to know. So, if you see this, you'll hear this. Or maybe and if you see something that looks like this, tick the box marked trill. Written out trills are really easy to spot because they have lots of notes, and all the other ornaments have between 2 and 5 notes. So if you see lots of notes, more than 5, then you can be pretty sure it's a trill. And here's how that last trill would be written. The turn, sometimes called the upper turn because there's an upside down version called the lower turn, which doesn't feature on the syllabus, looks like this or like this. When you see the sign directly above the note, it's an instruction to play the note above, then the note itself, then the note below, and back to the note itself. So, in the case of a turn above a D, you'd play E, D, C, D like this. However, if the sign is placed between the note and the next note, it's an instruction to play the note itself, then the note above, the note itself, then the note below, and back to the note itself. So, in the case of a turn after a D, you'd play D, E, D, C, D, like this. Or maybe like this. So, if in the exam you see something like this, or this, tick the box marked turn or upper turn. If you've eliminated trills from your answer in the exam, and there are 4 or 5 notes, then again, you can be pretty sure that it is a turn or upper turn. There are quite a lot of rules about turns which, again, are no longer on the syllabus, which may appear in a later supplementary lesson for those of you who really want to know. The upper mordant, shown by this sign above the note is an instruction to play the note and the one above it quickly before going back to the first note, like this. Here's an example. And now you'll see how much easier it is to use these signs rather than writing them out in full. Shown by the same sign, but with a vertical line through it, is an instruction to play the note and the one below it quickly before going back to the first note, like this. And here's an example, probably the most famous lower mordant in musical history. So, if you're asked to identify something like this in your exam, tick upper mordant, or if it is something like this, tick lower mordant. Notice that mordants, whether upper or lower, have 3 notes only. You will need to be careful with the last 2 ornaments on this syllabus. They both have only 2 notes. The acciaccatura or grace note is a short note played quickly before the main note to which it is attached. I'll say that word again just in case you thought I'd actually sneezed into the microphone. Acciaccatura. So this is played like this. And if you see something like this, tick the box marked acciaccatura and thank your lucky stars you no longer have to learn to spell it. Finally, the appoggiatura looks like an acciaccatura but without that telltale diagonal line through it, and is similar, but it is a longer note played more slowly before the main note to which it is attached. Commonly, the appoggiatura takes the value of half of the main note. So this is played like this. You might ask, why not write out the quavers in full rather than use appoggiaturas? When composers use appoggiaturas, they can tell us, the performer, which the more important notes are in the bar. In that example, the F and D are more important than the G and E. As with trills and turns, there are rules which have been struck from the syllabus, which we don't need to worry about. Now for that information I promised on the piano. If you've come to this as one of my own piano pupils, you shouldn't really need telling most of the following. But if you've stumbled upon these online lessons through YouTube rather than the website, or are not a pianist, then hello and welcome. And there's just a little more to do specifically regarding the piano. This sign is an instruction to depress the right pedal, known as the sustain pedal, and mainly in older printed music, the instruction to release the pedal is that rather flowery asterisk sign. In more modern printed music editions, you're more likely to see this notation where the foot is lifted at the point where the line lifts. The Italian words con pedale or con ped tell you to use the right pedal, but you must also use your common sense, experience, and your ears too. It is almost never an instruction to put your foot on the pedal and forget all about it. If you do that, the piano will sound as if it's being played in a cave like this. not a pleasant sound. The words senza pedale or senza ped are a specific instruction not to use the right pedal. Many composers intend you to use the pedal and don't bother telling the performers. But if you see senza ped or senza pedale, you must not use the pedal at all. The words una corda tell us to press the left pedal, the soft pedal, and the words tre corde tell us to release the left pedal. Mano sinistra, or MS, is an instruction to play notes with the left hand, and mano destra, or MD, to play them with the right hand. Finally, this wavy vertical line is an arpeggio sign and instructs the player to spread the chord from the bottom upwards, like this. Please note that the information on page 74 of Discovering Music Theory Grade 5 is plain, simple, wrong. It says that this should be played like this. But in fact, unless the player has small hands and cannot reach all the notes comfortably, it should be played like this. Notice that you'll see this sign a lot in harp music. More of that in other lessons. Come back to lesson 5 for information specific to the human voice and how it appears in music for choirs. We'll also have a look at the orchestral stringed instruments. See you soon.